The VFW is doing what they do best, which is advocating for veterans up on the Hill. Now, whether you agree with this certain topic or not, I ask that we all give the VFW's national commander the time of day, and let's read what he has to say about these mass firings. And yes, a lot of these firings are affecting veterans, hence why the VFW really cares about this. Okay, so here we go. This came out February 25th. As I'm recording this, it's February 26th. So 10 days ago, I shared the VFW's concerns for the news of mass layoffs coming out of our nation's capital. Excuse me. Since then, it has become clear that the veteran community has been hit hard as probationary federal jobs. I'm going to speak on that because it's not just you've been in this, you're a new federal employee. It's not just that. It's much deeper than that. It has become clear that the veteran community has been hit hard as probationary federal jobs are being axed across the country, to include the latest announcement of 1,400 more just let go from the VA. So about a week ago, it was 1,000-ish. Just the other day, it was 1,400 additional. With veterans making up approximately 30% of the more than 2.2 million employed by the federal government. That's a lot of employees, by the way. 30% of 1 million is 300,000. So it's at least 600,000. The potential of losing thousands of veterans from the government workforce is troubling. A lot of these aren't brand new off-the-street employees. I'm going to speak on this here in a second. I just want to read this first. These are employees who have been serving the American people for years in uniform and in civil service, and at least some of whom have been or are being caught by a formality in administrative statuses. That's absolutely key there. There are bigger ramifications in firing veterans than just faceless workers being let go. It's a very good sentence there. The American people are losing technical expertise, training, and security clearances that are already bought and paid for by taxpayers. Those are expensive. These veterans are now being told their skills are no longer useful to the government. We're losing people who are genuinely committed to the mission and find a continued sense of purpose in what they do. On top of all this, studies show having gainful employment is a social determinant of health and gets ahead of arguably one of the root causes of veteran suicide. Absolutely true. I would also include VA compensation. Just recognizing a veteran's mental health as service-connected and being compensated for it goes a really long way. Since the federal government is the single largest employer of veterans in the nation, it's veterans who are being indiscriminately harmed in this bulldozing of the federal workforce. Thumbnail. I was wounded in combat during the Vietnam War. Salt dog over here. I'm thankful that the medics who treated me chose not to take my whole arm for the sake of efficiency. It took a trained eye, a skillful hand, and human intuition to fix me up and get me back in the fight. In my experience, those operating with a scalpel have a better chance at saving limbs than those who operate with a chainsaw. Yikes. Unfortunately, it appears humans have been taking out what is a human capital issue. It has been reported to us from veterans who have lost their jobs that the emails they received letting them go were disjointed and inconsistent across the board. This leads us to believe they were automated with little to no oversight or thought. That's the case. When it comes to complex problems, we rely on humans to make the right choices at the right times. We should never leave the hard decisions that impact people's lives and livelihoods to an algorithm or an email distribution list. On Tuesday, March 4th, I will testify before a joint session of the Congressional Veteran Affairs Committee to deliver VFW's priorities and call on Congress and this administration to put an end to the indiscriminate firing of veterans in the workforce. I'm also calling on VFWs to March 4th and join me on that day. I want to see hats in the hallways of our Capitol as our legislative committee members engage with lawmakers in demanding that they honor the contract the government made with those who have already served and sacrificed so much for America and their fellow Americans. It's time to apply pressure and stop the bleeding. Okay, let's talk about probationary employee. First off, I think this is very well written. Really good job here, VFW. I genuinely like this one. Okay. Probationary employees are being fired. And let me just give you a rundown of how that actually works. If you're a brand new employee, there is a probationary employee or probationary term, 1 year for most positions, 2 year for like supervisory, essentially 13s and up, will have 2-year probationary periods. All right. Now that's just one scenario of a probationary employee. Let's say you're a GS-12 and you've been in this position for 3 years, your probation, or let's say 2 years, your probation was 1 year, you've already served that time, boom, you're in this position, you're good to go. You do so well that you get promoted to a 13, you're now a supervisor. You might even move to another office within the same agency. That position can and probably will come. It's how the position is written in the first place. I don't want to go into like the admin HR stuff of it, but depending on that position, which are a lot of them, that position can also have a probationary piece to it. And so now you have this person, all right, not just a veteran, although 30% chance it's a veteran. You have this person who served their probationary time, did well in that job, got promoted, is serving a new probationary period. Boom, they get axed. Okay, that's one scenario. Then you have probably the most common scenario, especially in the federal government. This is super, super common. Veterans will be contractors, right, with Booz Allen, Lockheed, whoever, the big five military industrial complex companies, okay? For instance, like me, I was a contractor in my same office, in my same seat, all right? I did contracting for about 3.5 years. A position opened up that was a federal position in my office. I left one day as a contractor. I came back as a civilian employee. Okay. So I was doing that same, nothing changed. My roles, my responsibilities. The only thing that changed is I now had an SF-50 and I was an Army civilian. Okay. So now you have these people who have been doing their role for an untold amount of years as a contractor. Someone died, a position opened up, whatever happens. Okay, it's not as easy to get into that cross that federal line, but a position opened up somehow, some way. Boom, this person who's 30% chance as a veteran now has this position, now comes with a probationary period. You're axed. I know you've had this job for 7 years, but you've been a federal employee for 9 months and 10 days. Therefore, you're gone. Okay. So there's more to the story than just the government firing people. All right. This is people's livelihoods. Their whole life is based around this job that provides income. These are just thoughts. If you don't, I already know people are going to say, people get laid off in the private sector all the time. Okay. That doesn't make it right. Anyways, I like what the VFW National Commander says here. I've already done a few videos on my thoughts. I'll go ahead and link those below and some interviews with some veterans who were fired. But I will say this, 1,000 last week from the VA, 1,400 this week. There's going to be more. There is going to be more. We still have the deferred resignation program that's supposed to go into effect this Friday, February 28th to March 1st. So Friday to Monday over the weekend. I assume since Elon's working, 16-hour days along with all the other people that he loves, they'll get on that on the weekend.